line call time, and we've got our buddy from Visit Virginia Blue Ridge with us. He is the Director of Sports and Sales, John Oney. He is also a valued partner and, again, friend as we boldly venture into new territory, literally into Southwest Virginia with Performance Productions and a huge tournament that we're partnering on next week. John, first and foremost, thanks for that partnership and the opportunity. I know that as we've gotten under 2 weeks here, we're really starting to get eager and actually packing cars full of pickleballs and everything else that we need to come down and throw that event. But if you'd be so kind, take me back to the origin of this in terms of wanting to do this event at the newly minted Moyer Sports Complex, which is just fantastic, and people are going to finish that off, and also how we arrived at this partnership between y'all and us.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me today. It's an honor to be on the stack. I've been waiting my turn patiently. But no, in all seriousness, appreciate you having me. Yeah, we kind of got to this point. I mean, I arrived from Florida about 3 years ago, and one of the reasons I came here was obviously the job in the mountains and all of that, but it had a pretty solid scene for pickleball. There were some local courts that seemed packed every year or every day, and I was out there as much as I could be, and I just kept preaching the pickleball thing from the very beginning to our sports council, to our partners, to our stakeholders. And you got to remember, VBR represents 3 counties and 2 cities, and we try to develop sports and sports tourism activities in that region. And they were all so tired of me talking about pickleball, every single one of them. And you know the drill. I mean, you guys talk about it all the time. Like, some people love it and they will be engaged with you, and other people are like, here we go again, man. Oney's talking about pickleball. What else is new? Well, fast forward a little bit, and the good folks over at the city of Salem, John Shaner, had a huge renovation project happening to his Moyer Sports Complex. And, they had 4 softball fields there. They had a playground. They had a skate park. And he wanted to do something exceptional in the community. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw the amount of players out there. And he just thought it'd be a great fit to start looking at putting in some pickleball courts. And so I remember talking to Shaner, and like, he had never played pickleball before, and he wasn't quite feeling it until, I don't know where we were. We were on a work trip together trying to book some business out in, I think it was Oklahoma City. And one of the evening functions was at a Chicken and Pickle. And so I get Shaner out on the court, and if you know Shaner, he's a big dude. He's a linebacker basically, and he was out there, and I was like, we'll see how he does. And he was out there the longest of all of us. He didn't want to leave the court. And it wasn't soon after that where he was like, you know what, I think I'm going to do, instead of like 6 pickleball courts at Moyer, let's jump to 10. And then from 10 it jumped to 13. And I just kept saying, oh man, let's see where else we can go. But I think he maxed out his space at Moyer. But so that's kind of how it all went. I mean, he's a park and rec director that gets it. It's community first for him. It's all about quality of life for the residents of the city of Salem and for the region. And you go out to Moyer any day of the week, and you'll see people from all across the region playing at Moyer. And so it's been a great addition to our infrastructure for sports tourism. And the second thing was, well shoot, now that we're going to get 13 courts, we need to maybe we should get a pickleball tournament. And that started kicking around, and we're like, yeah, let's get a pickleball tournament. And so we reached out to USA Pickleball, and one thing led to another, and then we got to meet John Laser, and got to hear all the good things you got going on, John. We knew of you from what your project was happening in Richmond, and so next thing you know, we're going from hoping to have a pickleball tournament to we're 2 weeks out of a major event for the city of Salem and VBR, and it's going to be our first sanctioned pickleball tournament ever. So we're extremely pumped. We're excited. We can't wait to see all the guests and visitors and players come into our area and get in those hotel rooms, eat at the diners and all that good stuff. So appreciate that relationship, John.
Yeah, you touched on it there, John, about the amount of courts. There'll be 13, or there are 13 courts there. And I was listening to you talk about his experience at Chicken and Pickle, and let's go from 6 to 10 and grow. And then my next step was, well, do you know that you'll have enough people to fill up those courts on a non-tournament weekend? And it sounds like you guys have done your due diligence to know that there is, for those of us in Richmond may not know what the pickleball community is like in Salem, Roanoke, that Blue Ridge area. What did you guys kind of do to know that 13 was not too many courts?
Yeah, I think there could have been some apprehension on the city's perspective of, is that too many? Are we going too much in? But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to drive around and just look at the courts on any day of the week, any time of the week. It's crazy. There are people on all the public courts. And so weekends, forget about it. I played at Moyer last weekend, and we had the paddles lined up just like you would, and I'm like, really, 13 courts, and we gotta wait 15 minutes to get on the court? And so already, it's max capacity over the weekends, and so that's tremendous for the city of Salem. It's tremendous for other things too. I mean, it's a ripple effect. You get people coming in just to play some pickleball, either at rec or tournament. It has an effect, it has an impact, and it has some lasting branding that goes along with it. And I hope that Moyer does that, and I think we're seeing that already.
Yeah, and we definitely have as well, witnessing that pickleball community as they come down in mass, of course, with the Ruckus and other players from that area coming down and filling up tournaments in the Richmond area and at times Virginia Beach and other places in the state. And I know they're taking a ton of pride in being that host venue and that host area for this tournament next week. And a large part of that is the reason that we got involved with it, and the larger part of that is why we're bringing Performance Pickleball as a whole, as a facility, to Roanoke, slated to open in December, because we believe in that, of course, too, John. And I had the advantage of living in Blacksburg for 7 years, my wife working in Salem at Hidden Valley Country Club, and a lot of those relationships were organic because of that. But the question that I get a lot, of course, for people that don't have that advantage, that haven't spent a lot of time in the Blue Ridge or in the mountains or in the Appalachian area, why Roanoke? Why aren't you going to D.C.? Why aren't you going south and following along 95? And my answer to them usually is just wait and see and you'll understand. But I think you can provide a better answer as to why the Blue Ridge, why Roanoke, why the three counties and the two cities, as you mentioned, and why it's becoming just a really vibrant area for outdoor activity, but also for commerce and the downtown. You see the evolution of that as well. I just think it's something where people get there and they go, oh, okay, I see. Yeah. But it's the getting them there. That's our part, right?
It's getting off 81. Like, you got to, once they get off 81 and kind of get into Roanoke and Salem, they realize that there's more to it than just a couple gas stations and maybe some fast food. I mean, there's a culture here. There's a vibe here. It's undeniable. If you get out of your car and walk in downtown Roanoke, you know that you're in an outdoor recreation area. I mean, there's bike racks on every car. There's kayaks on top of roofs. You know people are here to recreate, and we're pretty proud of that. I mean, that's one of the things that we push and talk about all the time is, hey, everyone's got a convention center, everyone's got pickleball courts, but not everyone has a Metro Mountain adventure opportunity like we do. And what I mean by that is, you can be in downtown Roanoke, and in 5 minutes, you're on the Appalachian Trail. Within 15 minutes, you're at Explorer Park, which is in the middle, feels like in the middle of nowhere, just hiking and listening to songbirds and things like that. We're home to McAfee's Knob, which is the most photographed spot on the entire Appalachian Trail. And so with the Blue Ridge Parkway running right through, I mean, this is one of those areas that's kind of like, I hate to even call it like a sleeper town, but it's one of those towns that's often overlooked until you get here and you realize, oh, the food options, the entertainment options, the things that are for the kids and the families. It's undeniable that our region is growing and growing in the right way, and we've got the branding that's going along with it and pushing it, and so we're pretty excited about that. And like I said, our 3 counties and 2 cities, and that's Franklin County, Botetourt County, Roanoke County, and the 2 cities are Roanoke and Salem, for all those who are wondering what the 3 counties and 2 cities are. we all do a really good job of regionalizing our opportunities.
Well, John, you're talking to a guy and me that has hiked McAfee's Knob more than once, and Dragon's Tooth, I would have you know. But I got to get back into it because it is glorious. And Joe,
get that third one.
Joe, yeah, I know I need to, and I'm going to be up there a lot more, so I'm going to have opportunities for all of that. And Joe just got back from the Pacific Northwest with his wife visiting, among other things, the birthplace of pickleball in Bainbridge Island. I actually spent a baseball season in the Northwest League out in that area, and I don't think it's a straight apples to apples, but when you said that, you get out of your car, you see the bike racks, you see the outdoor nature. It does have somewhat of a Pacific Northwest feel to it in the Roanoke area, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've never been out there. I've been to Portland one time, and it rained the entire time. And so that's how I remember Portland. They all had really nice rain jackets. But here it is different. I mean, I remember coming here for my interview and getting off the plane at Roanoke Blacksburg Airport and just looking around. I'm like, whoa, we're in a valley, obviously, but there's mountains everywhere. It was green, and just the opportunities are endless. And that's kind of what we hang our hat on is, come for the meeting, come for the sports, but then stay for the vacation part, stay for the fun, stay for the outdoor recreation. Get a tube, run down the Roanoke River, and then hit our Cheers Trail at the end and some of the more popular breweries that we've got here in town.
One of the things about tournaments that I'm always intrigued by is when a tournament tends to go away from the corporate sounding tournament name, and you guys have done that with PickleBrawl. I'm just curious, who decided that? How did you guys come together as that being the name of this tournament?
It was quite the process. I mean, we had some very, very smart people in the room making sure that that name came to be. And I'd like to thank John there for making that happen early on. He kind of threw it in there. He's like, hey, what do you think about this? And then we had that, and then we had a whole other list of other potential names, but we kept coming back to PickleBrawl. And it just worked. So PickleBrawl in Virginia's Blue Ridge kind of sounds really nice, with the little image there of the pickleball player on top of the mountain. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the logo really came together. We got to give some credit to John Lee and Whalehook for really, I think, incorporating the color scheme that encapsulates that area, and really happy with the way that came together and that collaboration with Shaner and a number of other people on his team and your team, John. It's been a lot of fun. And getting back to the fun part, I do want to reiterate to people that while it's not here at Performance in Richmond, and it's odd that I think people have forgotten what our roots are as tournament operators, in the fact that we were born in the parks at Pouncey Tract Park here. And for the players that are listening in the Richmond area that haven't experienced Moyer, it's like a brand spanking new Pouncey, which they're getting ready for here as well. And for us, if you're envisioning what this event is, envision back to the Body Armor 804 Open the last time it was outside, when you walked in and you were like, whoa, like what are these idiots and psychopaths doing? How are they paying for all that? That's what we're envisioning with the shirts, which are coming in a couple of days. I designed those. I'm exceptionally excited for them. We've got the big league medals coming out. We've got music. We've got food trucks. Shaner and his guys have done a fantastic job. We've got the presenting sponsor, in Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge, all the things that you need, the USAP affiliation and sanctioning with the refs. Point of this is this is a major event for us, and it's kind of odd for me to say this, but it's an opportunity for us to remind people that we haven't gotten soft just because we're inside all the time. And this is what we do, and we're really looking forward to do it. And it's a long way of saying that I hope that the Richmond players and players from other places in the state return that favor and go see the Blue Ridge and see pickleball in their natural environment, because those players have done a tremendous job over the last couple of years of traveling down and supporting tournaments here, D.C., Virginia Beach, and other places. And I know you share that sentiment, John. You can't drag them there, but at the same time, they're going to love it when they get there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, from the beginning planning stages of this, I think we've done it intentionally. And I love the collaboration with the city of Salem and John Shaner and his team. And, of course, you and your team have been critical leaders in this. But, yeah, I would hope that, too. I would love for the Richmond folks to come down and experience what it's like. I mean, I think they're going to see some solid competition. It's funny to me that, even a regular weekend during rec play, you'll see people from Christiansburg, Blacksburg, Smith Mountain Lake. They all come up to Roanoke and Salem to play because that's where the players are. That's where the bulk of the 3-5s and up are, and people want to get better and play against better opponents. So I think that lends itself to it. So I would love for that Richmond base group to get out here and see what we've got. I mean, Roanoke Ruckus, they're ready. I saw a bunch of their names on the list on the player sheet yesterday, and I know they're ready for this. Tim Cass and Yusuf. These are some guys that are, they're 5-0 players and they're looking to win. So, bring it. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, they did come down here and won challenge courts. Yusuf did. Tim Cass finished second a couple of weeks ago. So these players know we've got a Roanoke-Richmond pairing with Rosen Neidenoff and Derek Crage in that open division as well. It's funny, Joe and I just spent a split second looking at each other here, John, because I know where your office is, so I figured it out pretty quickly. As broadcast engineers, we're like, what is that squealing noise? And I'm like, his office is right on the train tracks. It's a train going by, so we get the gnat sounds, which I used to enjoy when I did a hockey broadcast. Well, no, buddy, it's been great getting to know you more, and obviously that's going to expand and evolve as we spend more time there physically and get performance online. But it's really been a wonderful opportunity for us as kind of a springboard into everything that we're doing, and that pickleball community there welcoming us in, which, of course, we greatly anticipate, but also for us to give to them the opportunities that we like to think we've given to people here in Richmond. So can't wait for next week, and can't wait to see what we can do.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I know we've got a future together, and with what you've got going on at the building here in Roanoke, there's going to be some opportunities to partner up on some tournaments in the future, indoor stuff. So looking forward to that. But yeah, you guys have been awesome, and appreciate you having me on the cast.